What's shaking, kings? It's time for verse 3 of Lao Tzu's Tao Te Ching, taken from Sam Torald's rendering of the White Goddard's translation dating back to 1919. This verse concerns restraint.
When a ruler is silent on the subject of virtue, the people are discouraged from practicing it. Meanwhile, a ruler who revels in riches encourages thievery.
Value virtue over wealth, and the people's hearts will be at rest. Wise rulers do not accumulate treasures, but seek to quiet the hearts of their people.
They soothe the people's appetites and strengthen their bones. They treasure innocence and protect the simple from the schemes of the clever. When a ruler practices restraint, everything will be in peace. What does all this mean? That's for each king to interpret for his and herself. But for some guidance, we went to www.centertao.org/essays/Tao Te Ching for the following interpretation.
Quote, the Tao Te Ching begins by telling me to rid myself of desires, yet also to always allow myself to have desires. This fits well with something and nothing produce each other. Example, desire and non-desire must also produce each other. The key for me is having these in balance. This is necessary to keep me from being unsettled of mind. But I always seem to have a surplus of desire, even in my desire to rid myself of desire.
Living as simple a life as possible cuts down on honoring men of worth, valuing goods which are to come, and displaying what is desirable. This keeps me from being unsettled of mind. But when I'm settled of mind, I soon get restless. I think the biology is at work here. After all, if I were able to feel settled easily, I would struggle less for survival. I can get around this somewhat by valuing, honoring, and desiring the way. As Jesus said, lay up for yourselves treasures in heaven, where neither moth nor rust doth corrupt, and where thieves do not break through nor steal. For where your treasure is, there will your heart be also.
If society didn't value one thing over any other thing, no one would be motivated to steal. Who steals garbage, for example? But more personally, the less I value goods, the less I'll feel robbed when someone takes my stuff. I only experience being robbed if I'm holding on to the object being taken from me. End quote. Quite frankly, we have an unhealthy obsession with possession schemes. No matter how much we have of any and everything we possess, we still continuously crave more. So how fulfilling are our possessions truly if the second we obtain them, we're already seeking more fulfillment? Yet, if we shift our focus to what we have instead of what we're lacking, we usually find a plethora of things already present in our lives to be thankful and grateful for. So instead of accumulating more possessions, practice appreciating what you already have.
Too many of our wants in life are driven by ego. But the ego is a tricky, egotistical motherfucker, kings, constantly nagging to be fed and soothed at every glimpse of temptation. That's why it can rarely, if ever, be trusted. The only real exception is when it retreats inward for gratification instead of outwards.
Accumulating titles, awards, and accolades fall into this trap too, from what I recall. Something about life being a journey, not a destination, or there's no way to happiness because happiness is the way, or some shit. So just refrain from focusing on the finish line. Shit. Half of us ain't never finished a goddamn thing in our lives, but thoroughly enjoyed failing every step of the way. Give that shit a try sometime. It might surprise you how liberating it actually is.
Crowned up.
You're a natural born king. It's time to claim your crown.